Let me tell you with no doubt, this particular author writes the best contemporary fiction novels in India. Her stories are beautiful, funny, and they just leave a mark. I mean, that image of Bonu exercising is still there in my head, and I can't even remember how long ago it was that I read my first Anuja Chauhan book. Anuja Chauhan started her career in the advertising industry. She is responsible for many memorable catchphrases, including the Ye Dil Mange More from Pepsi's ad. As an author, she has written 7 books. Her first book was The Zoya Factor, published in 2008. It's about this woman who meets the Indian cricket team for her work. She also works in the advertising agency and ends up becoming their lucky charm. It was a very successful debut novel that was also adapted into a Bollywood movie starring Sonam Kapoor. Her next book, Battle for Bitora, is about this 25-year-old Mumbai girl who's called back to her hometown to contest the upcoming Lok Sabha elections. This book is also being adapted into a movie and may come out in 2024 or later. That's one sad part about Anuja Chauhan's stories. The movie adaptations just keep getting delayed. Zoya Factor got delayed, and even Battle for Bitora is very delayed. Anyway, let's talk about my favorite Anuja Chauhan books. It's actually a duology. The first one, Those Pricey Thakur Girls, has also been adapted into 2 TV shows, I guess. I'm not really clear about it because I never did watch the TV show. There's Dilli Wali Thakur Girls and Dil Beqarar. The story is set in 80s and features these sisters, 5 in total, some of whom live with their parents in a posh neighborhood in Delhi. You'll want to pay attention to Devjani, who ends up finding a job as a newsreader on TV. Like most Anuja Chauhan books, it's funny, and this one also has a touch of romance with Dylan Singh Shekhawat, a journalist who Devjani ends up clashing with multiple times. My favorite memory of reading this book is almost the very last scene where Dylan and Devjani are trying to talk while there's so much weird stuff happening with the Chachi ji and all the family drama. Most Anuja Chauhan books have that natural Delhi vibe that's slightly more embellished and exaggerated, but then if you think about it, it's not. It's just the usual family drama and larger than life characters that are so common in North India. My first Anuja Chauhan book was The House That BJ Built. I picked the sequel to the Those Pricey Thakur Girls by accident. It's set 20 years after Dylan and Dabu's story and revolves around selling the very house where the Thakur sisters lived in. Again, it's a romantic comedy and it's so good. There are several discussions around how most of AC's books are semi-autobiographical in nature. I mean, a girl who works in advertising agency as her first ever protagonist, and then she herself mentioned in an interview that Those Pricey Thakur Girls was her most autobiographical book. Now, the author was also an army kid and grew up in a cantonment. Quite clearly, that must have inspired her to write a story that features some Deshbhakti and a very amazing Indian Air Force pilot. It's set with the backdrop of an upcoming war and is really something I read in one sitting, I think. Baz is also a really good book. Now, Anuja Chauhan, just like a few more Indian authors, has slightly shifted her niche to write contemporary crime fiction novels. She wrote Club You to Death, which definitely had those AC vibes, Agatha Christie vibes, but I didn't like it much. However, would that stop me from picking up her next book that also features one of the police officers from Club You to Death and is yet another mystery? Not at all. I'm going to pick it up very soon. The Fast and the Dead. It's the latest Anuja Chauhan novel that came out in October 2023. Have you read it yet? Let me know in the comments on below and subscribe for more videos.